Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day today. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today it is favourites and fails day. I have a fail this month, which I always appreciate, although it's not obviously great news, but it's nice to have something to talk about in a different tone, you know. By the way, excuse me if you notice that I have two completely different eyes on today. I mean, I have my normal eyes, two different eyeshadow looks today. I just got done filming my Huda review of the Naughty palette, so hence the reason I'm a little unbalanced. Although I'm always slightly unbalanced, aren't I? So I feel like I've got a fairly small number of favourites for this month. I don't know what happened because it's been a big month, but I feel like the favourites I had this month are just loves of my life, which is really nice. So although it's a small kind of concise gathering of products, they are top notch. So first up, the Master Mattes palette from Makeup by Mario. I have really started to appreciate this palette. I know in my initial review I was kind of like, I'm not sure, because it just wasn't what I was expecting it to be. It was a lot less pigmented, a lot softer than I thought it was going to be, and that kind of threw me off a little bit. But now I'm just really learning to appreciate that. This is what I've been looking for as far as like an all matte, everyday, very, very soft glam, natural glam looks. This is like ticks every box. It just has every shade in here that I need. I think it's so beautifully thought out as far as the tones and the shades and the number that it just makes it a breeze. So if you're after something that's not mega pigmented, that's then a lot of work to blend out, you're more so gonna build up. This is such a nice, very well thought out palette, and I really appreciate that it was so easy and affordable to ship to the UK, because I really didn't think I'd be able to shop this brand, and I love that it was so accessible and so easy. I really appreciate that. So another product that I've had for quite a while but haven't kind of got as much use out of it. It's taken me a lot longer to kind of get my thoughts together on it because so many eyeshadow palettes came out at one time. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Bejeweled Eyes to Hypnotize palette. It just screams festive Christmas vibes to me for some reason. It's the packaging, it's just like a snowflake. I love it. So this palette, I've had it a couple of months now, but I haven't included it in a favourites yet because I just haven't been able to use it that much until the last month or so. I've just felt like it kind of came out and then, you know, palette after palette came out around the same time, and it's taken me a bit longer for that reason to kind of keep using it, get a lot of use out of it, try all the shades and see how I feel. And I just absolutely love it. It's so wearable but pretty. I really love Charlotte Tilbury's eyeshadow formula. This is only my second full-size palette from her, and I just absolutely love it. It works very nicely with the Pillow Talk palette. I think it'll make a beautiful Christmas gift if you want to put it on your Christmas list rather than fork out for it yourself. But yeah, I love all the shades in here. Wear them all. Even the more bright shades are a lot softer and more wearable actually on the lid. I think it's gorgeous, and it kind of ticks a lot of boxes. You've got a lot of everyday office appropriate wearable shades, and you've got some party in the middle. Something for everyone. And lastly but not leastly, for the eyeshadow palettes of the month, the Celestial Divinity palette from Pat McGrath. I did not expect to love this as much as I do. I just find this palette is so much fun. I love using it. I find it so fun to play with. It's got such a lovely balance of shades. I don't mind there being 3 mattes in here, 1, 2, 3. I don't mind that as much as I thought I would. They actually work beautifully with all the colours in here. I've never reached for another palette in order to make a look out of this palette. I find it works really well by itself. And I do find that I can do more kind of wearable daytime looks than I thought when you look at it. It's definitely doesn't have to be crazy over the top colour, but it's just, this shade is one of my favourites, and I wish it wasn't as crumbly. It's quite loose in the pan, but it's stunning on the lid. And I love playing with the greens. These shimmers are just so pretty with this matte. You can really blend out the mattes. I like her best mattes, her absolute best mattes. I like the size of it. I like that it's got the big mirror. I really like the packaging, but most of all, it's just so fun to play with. And when it comes to like doing my makeup at the moment, I just really want it to just be fun. And that really represents that for me. At the moment, you know, we're all just going through a lot of stress and worry. In the UK, we've gone back into lockdown this week, and it's been very, very stressful. I know for lots of people, this is like a really high anxiety time, and just doing and playing with makeup is how lots of us, you know, just feel like ourselves and just enjoy life. You know, we can all still do that however long we're locked in our houses for. We've got our makeup, we can play with our makeup and just let go and enjoy ourselves for a little bit. We're not harming anybody. We're staying safely in our homes. There's no reason why you can't go and play with your makeup and just, you know, drift away for a while. And that is like the palette that I pick up when I want to do that. Next up, a foundation, and this is the Clé de Peau Beauty Radiant Fluid Foundation Matte. So I picked this up a few weeks ago for review purposes. It is very matte. It's the mattest foundation I own. Really, I can't think of a more matte foundation. Maybe Estee Lauder Double Wear. It's that level of matte. It is a beautiful, when they say radiant matte, it's not glowy and dewy. It's not like the Tom Ford soft matte. It's definitely not as luminous as that one, but there is a radiance to it, but it is definitely more matte than my personal preference. However, this has got a really lovely place for me, especially at the moment, because if I'm going somewhere on a long day where I'm going to have to wear a lot of mask, only one, but for a long time, and it's on and off. For example, if I go out for lunch or I'm going shopping, here in the UK, you can wear your mask just constantly if you want, obviously, but when you sit down in a restaurant or a cafe or have a coffee, obviously you're allowed to remove the mask. So there are certain situations where masks are going on and off all the time, and a lot of foundations can't cope with that. This one definitely can. It's bulletproof. It's got some SPF in there, which I don't mind. I don't rely on it, but it's something to note because it's not for everybody. And I know some people that might cause reaction in your skin. If you love a super matte, it's very high coverage. It's very easy to work with. It's got a pleasant scent. The packaging is nice and luxurious. It's a beautiful matte foundation. For my personal taste, it's too matte to be like an everyday foundation, but like I said, there are instances when I appreciate having it in my collection. Next up, the Smooth Buffer from Sonia G. I love this brush. I really felt like this brush was something that I probably wouldn't use that much because I don't use a lot of powder. I don't set my foundation with powder every day, and I don't really, or I didn't used to, buff powder over my foundation or over my makeup ever, really. That's not something like a step I usually take. So I just thought this was kind of a little bonus from Sonia G. But this brush, do you know, you don't have to use powder with this brush. This brush, I use this almost every time I do my makeup these days, just to kind of buff around the edges of things. I'm definitely someone who's guilty of applying too much of products and going too heavy-handed. And I know now I've got this brush in my collection, there's never going to be a problem. I just go around and buff, and I don't have to put powder on it. You don't even need product with this brush. You can just buff with just the brush by itself. It does the job beautifully to diffuse edges, to blend together, just as a finishing step. It's just beautiful. I rarely don't use this at the end of my makeup routine anymore. I think it's just perfect. Soft enough, but enough punch to it to diffuse edges without moving anything underneath. It's just a dream. And I imagine if you are a buffer or a setter, then it's just, it will easily do the job beautifully as well. So speaking of powder, this month I decided to try the La Mer powder. I'm always on the hunt for a powder that I can learn to love. I like the By Terry tinted Hydra powder. I think that's beautiful, but it does have colour to it, and sometimes that is not ideal for me, because if I happen to find a foundation that has even somewhat close to the undertone of my very, very olive body, then I want to keep it there. I don't want to then put a tinted powder, because obviously the Hydra powder, it isn't an olive tone, it's a warm tone, so it can kind of throw off my foundation. So I really wanted to find a translucent powder that I could use on top of any foundation and it won't change the colour. This one does for me. It's very luminous, but it does actually set foundation down. So when I have, like, say my Chanel foundation that is super glowy, almost like too glowy, which for me is really saying something, this will just take the shine off and keep it there all day. It's very smoothing, but it's got a glow, so it doesn't mattify your face and it doesn't change how the foundation looks shade wise. I really enjoy it. It does, one drawback is it goes flipping everywhere. Like, I can't breathe when I'm putting it on. It's so finely milled. It's like a cloud bomb just went off in my room and it is just everywhere. So that's the one negative that I will warn you about. But I think this is beautiful, and you do get a huge big pot for your money. So it is expensive, but I got a lot of money off because I bought it in, I think, the Space NK sale. So I got £15 off of it, and I had some points saved up as well. So I got it for like half price, which is why I waited and didn't buy it just willy-nilly. Like I'm always telling you guys, wait for sales. And now prepare for Highlight Town, because we are approaching. It was really a highlighty month this month, wasn't it? Now, I did a comparison of the 3 highlighters I'm about to talk to you about. So if you want to see them side by side, swatched together, etc., then there is a whole video showing you all of that jazz, along with a lot of other highlights swatched for comparison purposes. But my goodness, this was the month for highlight. So this is the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude Glow. This is just stunning. This has kind of become like my go-to if I want to be like highlighted. Like, I don't want to be soft and subtle today. I want to be highlighted, because this does that for me, but in the smoothest, most beautiful, melt into my skin tone way. You can see it's a pretty high shine highlight. So it's not your, you know, or my like vibe for like the school run. Am I lit from within? Am I just blessed by angels? It's a you're wearing a highlight, but it's just beautiful. I love this formula, always have done. So happy she brought it out in a single. One of my favourite highlights of all time. The Charlotte Tilbury. Now this one, I feel like this is, surely this didn't just come out this month, but I think apparently it did. And I love it. One of, if not my favourite highlight of all time, and much more up my street than the Natasha for everyday. I think you'll be able to see the difference here as far as the shine level. The Charlotte Tilbury, much softer and more of a luminosity and a glow than the sort of higher shine finish. So hence why I said in my review that I prefer this one, just because they're a very similar shade, but the Charlotte Tilbury is more luminous and just softer than the Natasha Denona. I just feel like this one is just more me, and it's just stunning. And lastly but not leastly, in that video I said I would update you on this bad boy, this absolute weapon of a package. This is obviously the Pat McGrath highlight. As I said in my review and comparison video, I don't love that it doesn't have a mirror, but I can bypass that. I haven't really minded since I've been using this more unscrewing it. I thought that I'm so lazy, that's going to be an issue. Like, I just can't flip the lid up and go, I've got to twist it off. That's going to annoy me. But it hasn't really. That hasn't been an issue. It does slightly irk me that it doesn't have a mirror, but you know, we can live with it. This is the highlight I've got on today. I'm loving it more and more. I just find it so natural, and I really wasn't expecting it. I thought Pat's gonna come out with the world's brightest highlight. I mean, we know what her eyeshadows are like. We know we're gonna get something that can be seen from Jupiter, but it's not. Who saw this coming? It's so natural, and it's very much the most subtle, I would say, of the 3. The tone is slightly strange, and I've seen it causing people some problems. Depending on your skin tone, the undertone that you have in your skin, this may or may not work for you, because this colour, I know she's called it champagne gold, but it's pink, okay? So let's just say that. I use this before my bronzer, so I will do foundation, concealer, powder, and then highlight, and it works beautifully. I would suggest, if you've already forked out for this and you can't return it, and you're thinking the shade doesn't work for me, it looks odd, try it before bronzer, blush, and highlight. Put it on, obviously highlight, it is the highlight girl. What are you on about? But try it before your cheek products, because that's when I find it looks so beautiful. As I'm applying this highlight, it's the strangest thing. I'm applying it and I'm thinking there's nothing special. I'm not applying it going, oh, my life is changed. I don't feel like that as I'm applying this highlight. Throughout the day, I'll catch my skin in a mirror or whatever, wherever, and just think, oh, wow, it's so pretty. And throughout the day, I'm just like falling in love more and more with it. I think it's beautiful and so pretty and so soft. And yeah, I love it. It's just growing and growing. I still think the Charlotte Tilbury just edges it for me because it is a better shade for me. But this one, the formula, it's just so natural and just so lit from within. You're not wearing highlight, you're just a glowing goddess. And you know how I feel about that. The 3 greatest highlights probably of my whole life came out this month, and I love them all. I know people were asking me, do you prefer these to the Galon? The Galon, I love it, still adore it just as much as these, but these 3 are now right up there pushing for #1 spot. And one little strange little number, this is my Nomostash face razor. I picked this up this month from Cult Beauty. I've never shaved my face before, and I still haven't. I'm still too afraid. So this is a little facial razor, but I have been using this on my moustache, my mantash. This is what I've been using this for. I haven't shaved my whole face. I'm too afraid to do that. I just feel like something terrible is going to happen. But usually I wax my moustache, so I did appreciate the like less torturous option that this presented. So I saw it pop up on Cult Beauty and I thought, let's try that. Maybe it won't work out. Maybe it will like grow straight back. I know lots of people fear that if you use a razor as opposed to wax, the hair is going to grow back darker and thicker. And apparently that is a myth. I've seen lots of very clear scientific evidence that that is a myth. What's actually happening is that instead of pulling your hair out by the root so it grows back with a tip, you're cutting the hairs off. So it's like the middle of the hair, which is thicker than like the point of a tip of the hair. I hope that makes some kind of sense, but apparently that's the illusion we get when we see a difference between waxing and shaving. So you're not actually encouraging your hair to grow back quicker or blacker or thicker. You're just cutting it off midpoint rather than pulling it out by the root and seeing a regrown hair, apparently. So anyway, I digress. It's not a science lesson. So I've used this a couple of times now. I love it. I love that it's pain-free. I love that I don't, sometimes when I use a wax, it can, you know, like actually make your lip really sore and sensitive. Obviously it makes it super inflamed. You can't touch anything. And I don't know about you, but I always get loads of spots when I've waxed my top lip as well over the next week or so. And I feel like it kind of can cause extra lines as well because you're so brutalizing that top lip. It's really rough and it makes like texture on my lips. So I really highly recommend this. I've only used it on my top lip for moustache removal, but yeah, it's really not caused me any issues. I've not grown stubble. I've not turned into a man. It's not affected my life in any way. And I feel like I can do it more often. Whereas with waxing, you have to let the hair regrow to a certain length before you can do it again. You don't want to be doing it every week. Whereas this, as soon as the hair's, you know, showing again, you can whop it off. And no one needs to know that we are human beings that grow hair on our faces. Don't tell the men. So now we're moving out of Highlight Town and into Lipsville. Here's the lip tea of the month. Let's start off with the ones I've had the longest, and these are my YSL lips. This formula, this is the Slim Glow Matte. It's perfection. Now I know I asked in my review what this smells of, And a lot of you guys were telling me that all the YSL lipsticks smell like peach, or they're supposed to smell like peach. And this in no way smells like any peach I've ever smelled before. I don't know if maybe there are different peaches out there that I haven't smelled, but this doesn't smell like peach to me. But what it does smell like is a Turkish Delight chocolate bar. You know those ones? The chocolate covered Turkish Delight bars? That's what this smells like to me. A delight. It is... This formula is glorious. It's very long wearing. By the way, this is the shade 213, which is, I think, No Taboo Chili. Yes, I think that's the one it is. I've already ordered another shade. That's how much I love this formula. It's very mask friendly, but not drying. It's a satin, luminous satin finish, very natural. This shade is just perfect for this time of year. It matches my dress. I mean, what more could you want? One of my favorite lip formulas ever. It's just so comfortable and beautiful. I love the coverage. This is the other formula they came out with at the same time. It's like a, is it Gloss Stain or something? Water Stain Glow. I don't love this one as much. It's nice, but it's not one that I kind of trust to wear under a mask right now, because it does kind of wear off in the middle of your lips. But it is a beautiful glossy lip. So if you are in a country that is not living this nightmare right now, I know everybody has different regulations. Some countries aren't wearing masks, aren't in lockdown. So congratulations, we're all super happy for you guys. So yeah, I think, you know, if this post-apocalypse, we can start wearing glosses without them all being all over our masks again, this will be coming out. I love it as a gloss, but it's, yeah, it doesn't wear particularly well. I much prefer this one. I've already picked up another shade because I just adore it. And now for my Lisa lippies. I am wearing Velvet Affair right now as we speak, just to die for. Like my perfect nude. I really was praying for a perfect nude for my skin tone from Lisa, and she knocked it out the park, which is why it was the first to sell out, because it is just, it's perfect. I just am obsessed with it, and I'm so sorry talking about it because it's sold out, and I know that breaks people's hearts, but I'm sure it will come back. I'm sure it will. And then here is Velvet Blush. I mean, these two shades are just everything for winter. I mean, I will wear this all year round. This one, it's probably less of a spring summer type shade, but right now, I mean, these are just glorious. I love her liner. As I said in my review of these, you know, hard to get excited about a lip liner, but if I was going to, this would be the one that I got excited about. The packaging is to die for. It's creamy, it's smooth, it doesn't tug. It's a complete, just the smoothest of processes to apply it. And this shade in particular, so I bought the blush kit, so the lip, the liner and the gloss in the little bag. This shade, I actually waxed some around Velvet Affair today. It seems to just go with every lipstick I own, which is a very useful thing to have. And now for the gloss, the new formula glosses. I always smell them even though they don't smell. I don't know why. Just perfect. The easiest wearing, chuck it on for the school run or wherever it is that you're going. It's got enough pigment, but it's not super in your face. You can wear it the whole set together if you want, but you certainly can wear the gloss by itself or just with the liner and you're good to go. I find it so nourishing and comfortable on the lips, not sticky, just a beautiful formula. Of course, Lisa smashed it literally out of the park with all of these products and all of these shades. She's just an amazing vision, and the customer service, the process is just seamless. I think I've never seen anybody have an issue that wasn't certainly quickly resolved. You know, obviously sometimes things happen, but I just see literally Lisa herself is just all over it and helping everybody and resolving everything, replying to everybody. I think she's incredible and lessons could be learned from her. So now lastly and leastly, as it happens, the Makeup by Mario gloss. This is the Master Secret Glow Highlighter. I don't like it. I don't like anything about it. It's so sticky and horrible. I think this is just, I mean, as I said in my review, I don't know why I bought this. I guess for review purposes, maybe it would helpful. Hopefully I've saved some of you some money. Hopefully some of you saw this and didn't pick it up because I told you not to. Yeah, I don't like it. It's not for me. I think this is probably a product that pros might use more on set, you know, to whack on the top of cheekbones to catch the light because it's a wetter formula. So maybe in photography, on film, on camera, it's going to give you something that I can't appreciate as just a normal gal trying to not be sticky. But yeah, I don't like it. I don't recommend it. I will never use it again. It's like sticky Vaseline, and it lifts up product underneath if you're not very careful. I just don't like anything about it, and I can't tell you how much I wish I hadn't bought it. So there's that. So there you have it, a pretty curated list this month of like some of my favourite products of the whole year, let alone for October. An absolute gem of a makeup month, isn't it? Isn't it? Just nailed it out the park, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.